cheers and skål, and welcome to this feature with me and my dear friend and band member Hans Cools. Welcome to whatever we're doing right now.
Whatever result.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to talk to you about various things today, and it will be divided in a couple of features because we have a lot to talk about, and we have known each other long enough to...
Pretty long?
Yeah, to have to divide it pretty much.
We'll expand too much if we don't.
Yeah, exactly. And with time, we're in this video and just in general, we'll find a way to how many features this will become.
Yeah.
But as a start, thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channels, because if you don't know that this is happening, that's a shame. But besides that, we have shops on Squarespace and Bandcamp, and we have a Patreon, like many different ways to support us. But most of all, we used to enjoy spending time together and answering your questions, because we'll do our best to cover many subjects here today. But if you feel that we're missing something, like even details to our questions, don't hesitate to let us know. We're more than happy to get back to you, and even if we live in different countries, like we're in Belgium right now, and usually, of course, I'm in Sweden, you usually remain in Belgium.
Usually.
That's what you do.
Which is one of the questions that we might be dealing with today.
Yeah, exactly.
The distance between the members has been a bit of a mystery for some fans.
Yeah, and I'm not really happy about admitting that it was actually worse when people didn't have the distance. Like, even when I lived in the same city as other members, we didn't rehearse more often or record more often, because it's not about the distance, it's about the actual members, the persons,
and the devotion into the
devotion
project.
and dedication. Yeah. So let's see here on our nice little list here. We've to some extent covered the distance, but we can talk more about that when we speak about Veracumla, because that's about being both intimate and close to different things.
Yes.
But about intimacy, or to some people maybe a lack of it, I don't know, how we got to know each other was interesting, because it was one of my first tours ever, like a mini tour with Nuit Noir.
Yeah.
Right? Fantastic people, but their music is definitely not for everyone.
It wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Right.
But it was a special place and a concert. Like, the venue was good and they did a good show. But I understand that if you're not prepared for a guy in
almost naked.
Yeah.
In a fairy knight kind of robe and a plastic sword.
He did have a sword.
Yeah, he had a plastic sword.
Yeah.
And a very shitty Fender guitar or copy or something.
Yeah, but
it worked.
I thought it sounded good.
Yeah, it somehow fit.
Yeah,
I also remember
sound.
there was a veil in front of the stage, like a black cloth veil.
Yeah.
It was
I'm sad I lost I made a proper video of it, but I lost it because my previous computer burnt. But that was maybe my 5th or 6th show ever with Hypothermia, like a concert, and my, I think, 3rd concert with a second guitarist when Johannes was in the band.
It was he wasn't in there for that long, I think, back then. Yeah,
he did Gråtoner and Skogens hjärta with us, and Kaffe and Blod, the first one, and he and the rest of the band was in this weird cavern where we made that concert, and I don't know, was it 7 or 17 people in the concert?
I think it was less than 20 paying people. It was in some kind of a basement. It doesn't exist anymore. It was a nice venue. I saw some nice
they did some good
performances
concerts.
there.
It was famous for good concerts, but for some weird reason, no one came to us.
It was a very strange time, and there was barely any promotion. Not to say that
That's true.
that the organizer did a bad job. I don't think he did a bad job.
Yeah, I think he was just more focused on his label work.
Yeah, I mean, I still know him. I don't know if you still have contact with him. But
No, I don't have contact with him anymore, but I know that he still does good stuff. And
yeah, it's nice.
he works more like a roadie and concert promoter.
True.
Like some years ago, I know he did a lot of work for Inquisition and things like that.
Exactly, he still does. I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah, our friend that we're talking about here, we can name him because he's a good guy and we're a friend to him still. It's Arjan from Hagen's Heart.
Yeah.
A wonderful guy. But back then,
I remember it was also a very significant stage in Hypothermia's period because
it was the first time we had the second guitarist,
and shortly after the release of almost at the same time the 3 albums,
Yeah.
Schult and
Rockwood's, yeah, because they only happened like a year before that, all of them.
Yeah, and suddenly they were on a merch table there. So I was there as a visitor.
Yeah.
And for me that was the small secret. I wasn't a big fan of Hypothermia in the beginning. When I heard Veins and Schult, I was like,
That's very specific.
It's nice, but I didn't really put the time into it. And with
It requires a mood and setting, to say the least.
With Rockglasfallen, I got a bit more into it, but what really turned me
because
into the band...
you're more from a doom background, so it speaks
back
to
then,
the...
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But what really turned me from that gig was the live version of Gråtoner, which was the first tour or time you were playing that, I think.
Yeah, exactly. It was really new and fresh back then, so it was more... well, it's aggressive now, but in a different way.
It entranced me in a good way. Really did. It was inspiring. Of course, I had no clue that we would be friends at that time. Like, I don't even remember if we talked that evening.
I remember that you approached me about a friend Mitch, because you were going to release the CD version of Lament by Abysmal Sorrow.
Yeah.
Because you wanted my... not just approval, but just hearing from me that it was right. That
because you were doing the tape version.
Or I was supposed to. I have the layouts, but back then I was in a transitional period that we all know too much about, a bit too much, and unfortunately, several things made that not happen.
Yeah, I know your feeling.
And then there were some weird deals with. I don't remember if he was working with Go to Works or Eisenwald back then, but
Go to Works definitely, yes.
There were some weird things happening, and unfortunately that put some cogs in the wheels of what I was doing. But you were fast enough to at least get your CD out, and it's a nice, very atmospheric, ambient doom album.
It's still a great album. Still lives up to. Like, to this day, it still lives up to what I thought it was back then. And it's
I still miss the first demo I made. Like, I really liked that release. It's a shame that no one...
Go to Rex released an EP. I'm not sure if it's the same.
It's like a very black... It has candles and stuff on it.
Yeah, he released it on Go to Rex.
I really remember liking that demo when I got the tape player.
It has that harsh feeling to it.
Yeah, but still nice and doomy, so it's soft. It's not the harsh distortion, but the soft distortion. It's...
As you can see, we already diverged to
something
we didn't plan to talk about.
We started talking about our friend Mitch instead. Who has another amazing project. Like Ilomen is fucking fantastic.
He has a lot of great...
Like, I usually try to not swear or curse, but...
we do.
Seriously, we're adults, and if you hear his albums with that project, how can you not?
Yeah. Australian Ill Omen.
Goddamn.
On Iron Bonehead. Check him out. He's still a great guy.
Yeah, Nuclear War now as well.
Yeah, true that.
He managed to ensnare two of the most...
extremely talented guy. Maybe I didn't remember it at this point, but we actually recorded an album, the three of us together.
That I was supposed to make vocals for, and
we never did anything.
It disappeared.
It's probably on some old computer.
Were pictures in a barley field for it.
Yeah, true. The pictures are probably better than the album.
Maybe. Honestly, I've never heard it. I lived with you two guys for a week at your house.
Yep.
But I've never heard.
But of course, he agreed to work with.
Yeah, because I love you guys. Like,
that was nice.
And I've known you like long enough back then. Even like back then, it was like a year. But I also had good contact with him and another person, but that I will honor by naming him because he is our friend in the back, so I won't name him. But yeah, I used to know a lot of Mitch's friends, and I'm happy that we at least know that guy because something good came out of that era. Besides some of our releases.
And all of us are still surviving in some strange way, separately or crossing each other's path all those years later. Like, we've become the old guys. Slowly but surely.
Well, we're keeping it creative, so that's what matters.
Yeah, a little bit later. It was less than a year later, I think. It was in 2008, but I'm not exactly sure. I think it was spring.
Because it was before Café and Blood was released, which means it should, and Johannes was still in the band, so it should be in like autumn winter of 2007, because in the autumn of 2008 was when or the spring or summer was when we recorded Café and Blood, and then in the autumn we recorded Skånes Hjärta.
I see.
And before that we were in Germany a lot. I don't know why, but they kept booking Hypothermia all the time. Sometimes Belgium, but mostly like 90% of our shows were in Germany for a while.
It's a good country to do gigs in.
Yeah, they have a lot of cities and a lot of venues.
They buy a lot of merch. They usually do.
Yeah.
So there was this event with Hypothermia and Trist.
Yeah.
And some other bands.
It's supposed to be a Trist at least, but
at
least Jan was there. That's the most important
we
part.
saw the sound check. It sounded good.
The sound check was amazing.
And then...
even my previous drummer Nachtzeit from Lustra was there.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
He played some old stuff.
Yeah, because I drove from my place with one of his friends, Seb, was the driver, and he drove all the way. They took a train to where my father lives in Jönköping in Huskvarna, where I took the cover photos for Sköld and Pulver from Lifeflower and stuff like that. And we drove all the way down to Germany, to Gotha, like in...
Yeah. So Gotha is in the east of Germany, what used to be communist Germany. It was kind of a shock for me to arrive there. It was kind of a long drive, like 5-6 hours, and
a bit dilapidated. It's weird.
It's not what you would expect from
Germany.
Germany.
It's like villages.
Yeah. But the event was organized by a dear friend of ours called Lucas, who had been active in a project called Through the Pain.
Yeah. And how I met him and why he was the one organizing that concert was a few months before that. He was one of the visitors before we did the mini tour with the Nuinois. We had a show together with the guys in Isolation.
Yeah, who were also on the Nuinois tour.
Exactly. And that's how we got to know them. And at the backstage of that concert, at the venue, I don't remember the name of it, but we played there with Lifeflower too, actually, like a year after. And that's where I got to know Lucas, and he told me like about his project, and I said, yeah, I'm starting a studio in Sweden, so anytime you want to record something, come. And
he did?
Yeah,
eventually.
Like most bands that I've told that to, they say, I have to save money, I can't afford going to Sweden. It's not about paying me for my work, but just the trip.
Yeah.
But he went to Sweden to us, to the location at our previous drummer's place, at his father's place, where we had all the equipment for Hypothermia, where we recorded Gråtoner actually.
And he recorded his album.
Yeah, the album of Through the Pain. Yeah. And that's the only reason why our previous drummer is in the project, because they didn't know each other.
He was just there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like he was the only drummer that I knew that didn't ask 500 euros or more for working. Like it was enough to have some beer and some weed, and that's what I bought. Yeah, it's the honesty. Like, sorry, people of the world. Like, if you expect something better or worse, but that's it.
Yeah,
and that's how I knew Lucas, and
yeah, he organized that fest, which was nicely done.
He tried at least. He rented like a attic of a theater, and we had a video crew and a sound crew. So it was supposed to be like a DVD, but the sound was not really nice, and we didn't feel the atmosphere, so we could never release it because...
He did send out some private copies.
I know there's been people leaking it to YouTube as well.
I mean, it was nice, the intention is nice, it was an invitation-based gig, which definitely changed the atmosphere there, I think. And I asked him, I had just started a little distro. I don't even think it was a label at that point. It was just a distro.
Yeah, I think it was mostly just distributing some titles that you enjoyed.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it started. That's what.
Because it was very close to when we talked about Vemodsorkestern and all that stuff. Like
that's
very close.
What we still try to do is promote music.
Like 3 months or something within each other.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
And we still like to promote music that we like.
Absolutely.
Not because we know it will sell, but...
Yeah, we're not ashamed of... like, it's not like name dropping. We're just proud of knowing...
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, if we know someone, like an artist, that is talented, we're just happy to share that with people, because we feel that everyone should know that person's name and their talent.
Exactly.
Like, if someone makes good tattoos, share that name. If someone makes good music or produces music well, like our friend Dia downstairs here.
Yeah.
Like we share that name as well as we can. Like it doesn't happen all the time, but that doesn't mean that we don't cherish them or don't want to promote them. But everything has its name and place. We're not the kind of people that do promotion for the sake of promotion. It has to be natural.
Which is what people have told us, like, why don't you do this, why don't you do that? Well, this
we
is
will,
exactly
but in its time.
Yeah. So, back to the distro, that's how we started talking. Because you basically had some tapes and CDs and like, hey, can I put these here? And that's how we started talking. I also think I gave you some recordings of mine. I'm not exactly sure which ones.
After the first concert in Högligem that I made that you were at, that's a few weeks after that you sent me the first demo or album of Trans Like Void.
Yeah, I'm not too proud of it, but it was inspired by that evening.
Yeah, and you wrote me a short little letter about it, or a note.
True.
That came. I have the demo at my father's place.
We
you
have
can't hide
always
take a picture.
We have always liked personal stuff like that.
Yeah, note means a lot. Like and I thought about like I don't remember if I told you something about it, but
I don't know.
because I had an underground label back then, and I think I said the same to you as I said to Natram of Lebensgefahr, that it sounds alright, but it's not for me. Like
it's possible. I don't remember at all.
Yeah.
Let's not go into that project anyway. It's not important.
Yeah.
But we started talking and we kept on talking online.
Yeah.
Via email, and I think it was probably MSN back in that time.
Yeah, exactly. It was because MSN was before Microsoft and Skype and Facebook became the same thing.
Even before MySpace.
Yeah. It was before MySpace, definitely.
And
even before SoundCloud and all that shit.
In that time, I had, through some other friends in Belgium, gotten into the organization of a black metal fest in Ghent in Belgium. Yeah,
it was very close to the concerts we made in Germany. Like, the year
less
after.
than a year.
Yeah.
That was
like the summer after.
Yeah, July.
Yeah.
I remember it because the date is 2007, 2008.
And it was exactly the year before you and me and Mitch had the time at your house.
Yeah, and then we went to the same fest.
With Hell Militia and some other interesting acts.
That was some interesting evenings.
Yeah.
But that first edition in 2008, Hypothermia, I booked you basically.
Yeah, exactly. And I had a road trip with Jonas from Lifelover back then. It was an interesting road trip.
I still remember that on his rider, the special request was Hogarde Grand Cru.
And chocolate pudding.
Yeah, chocolate pudding, which my friend made.
And fruit salad.
Yeah, we got all of that.
Yeah.
We just forgot an extra guitar amplifier,
Yeah.
which we noticed right before the gig, but we solved it. I also played there with my own band, Kilte, our one
Yeah.
and only gig,
Yeah,
which
exactly.
I still think was a brilliant gig.
Well, the best show I've seen from that project was your rehearsal when me and Mitch was
True.
at your guitarist place a year later
Yeah,
at the attic there.
true.
It was nice.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah. Like 12 years ago.
Yeah, something like that. So we got to know each other there more and more. It was very organic how
Yeah.
we got to know. It really grew. We really grew toward each other. There was no pushing.
Yeah.
I think.
No need for it. Like everything just took its time.
Yeah, and we ended up doing some small collaborations.
Yeah. Yeah, like with your project Translink Void, even though you never really got to where you wanted on the recordings, I think we made some good concerts. Like
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
we made a really nice concert together with our friends in Esoteric.
Yeah. That was nice.
Yeah, it's not every day that you have them as a support band. Well, of course we were just an outro to the evening. Of course they were the headliner, but
Yeah.
we were the last band.
We played after them.
Yeah.
That's
So depending on how you see things, like
It was an interesting evening, a very interesting evening, and that grew into what we'll talk about next.
and every time seeing Alcadel is a fucking good experience.
That was nice.
Yeah, they're always
Alcadel.
good live.
Yeah, man, I forgot. And the next
I miss them.
we'll talk about, because we'll have to do a little break here, is how that went into the collaboration.
That led to you becoming an actual
Yeah,
member
yeah.
instead of a guest.
Exactly.
Yeah. So stay tuned, boys and girls.
Continuing, I won't go into detail about this, but we did quite a nice gig. Hypothermia, Translike for Trist, closed off by a live collaboration, which was really good.
Yeah.
That was nice.
And the Trist performance was amazing. Jan is always
Yeah.
such a wonderful being.
Absolutely. He was.
He's one of the reasons why I will actually get the driver's license, just to be able to meet him and get him places.
He was supposed to do vocals on that set, and you were supposed to do guitars in that set. We even rehearsed a little bit, but then you fucked up your finger during Skogens Hjärta.
Yeah, I did something weird. I'm not sure what.
So
And the venue was a bit cold, but
so he told me like, "Hey, man, I can't do it."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Fuck, what are we gonna do?" So his other guitar player,
Patrick at the time, yeah.
he's a very, very good musician. So he
Oh, yeah.
just picked up and turned out to be an amazing
Yeah,
improvisation.
it was nice.
The
Really nice.
people approached us to like, "Are you gonna release that?" We never did.
Well, we probably can find audio somewhere. I think Leslie has it.
Yeah, probably.
Because he recorded a video of it.
Yeah.
Which means that even if the sound quality is not great from his camera,
There will be some.
if we don't have a soundboard capture of it, at least we have the camera capture of it.
We're talking about Leslie from A Thousand Lost Civilizations, who
another good
organized
friend
some
of ours.
very, very nice things in Belgium and abroad.
Yeah, I've been a tour manager for some very, very nice bands, to
And
say
I-
the least.
And in 2009 he requested filming the entire event there. So fast forward to 2013.
Yeah.
You can say how the gig in Oberhausen.
It was, a
Was
bit strange
planned.
because back then we had another guitarist, but he seriously just disappeared. None of us had no idea where he went. For several months he just was not a part of this world. I know where he is now.
Yeah, we've met him after that.
Yeah, but you remember that time, like, because you have met him before then too. Like,
Yeah.
he just disappeared, and I was like in a shock because I knew that I have only cancelled like 1 or 2 shows or concerts ever, and we've done around 100 so far with Hypothermia. So I'm really, as you can hear from that, I'm against cancelling.
Yeah, we really are.
And yeah, he was nowhere to be found, and I just asked the organizer, like, is it okay that we might not have the full lineup, But I knew that back then, it was before we did any concerts as a duo, so he expected and the audience expected a trio. So I asked our friend Igor Rivkin, that's also good organizer and friend from Germany, if it's okay that I just have a guest.
Yeah.
Can I invite one of my friends as a guest for this concert? And he said, yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Uh,
It was a couple, like, I remember the gig was in the end of the summer because it was on my birthday in the end of August.
yeah.
And
And I had some weeks before.
Yeah, I had some time to go over it,
Yeah.
and before that I had played some tunes at some...
Yeah, it's not
some
like
things
we
in
have
Sweden.
metal jammed before.
Yeah.
I've been at your place, we have been jamming.
I knew at least 2 songs,
Yeah.
and from there on we went on. Kim told me that he would start, like, introduction-wise, playing some things you just wrote.
Yeah.
And after that I would come on for, I think, Gråtoner.
Yeah, because that's a
Yeah.
very basic song, you can't fail that one.
So that was the first gig I ever did, because Oberhausen is only about 2 hours away from where I live in Belgium. It was
Yeah.
pretty easy for me to get to. I went with
Yeah, it's
some
very close
friends.
to the border,
Yeah,
for people that don't know.
I went with some
Like,
friends, had a good time.
Yeah.
It was my birthday that day, so we went to have dinner and
Yeah.
then went on to the performance, which was quite brilliant.
Yeah, it was a very good concert.
There's some clips on YouTube of that one. If
Yeah,
you,
mostly camera on me, unfortunately. Like, well, I don't mind, but that's just what fans do. But he's on that clip too. Like, you can hear him in the background. You can see him.
There's like sometimes it switches.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think it was a Russian guy. The username at least was Russian. The
Yeah.
username is Russian, but maybe you're British. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe if you see this, you'll
Yeah.
clear this up.
Yeah,
That was a nice
you
video.
can make a comment.
Yeah, we did that gig and then it felt nice.
Yeah.
And I remember you had a gig planned exactly 1 week after in Falun, which is about 2 hours north of Stockholm. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Which is about 6 hours north from where I live.
And Kim basically told me, hey, we have another gig exactly 1 week from now.
Yeah.
We can't really pay you, but if you want, you can come over. And
Yeah.
I was like,
And I knew that you liked our friends in Svartilogen, of
Yeah.
course. So
exactly.
it's the opportunity to see them live as well.
I was like,
And I
Why
do
the
their
fuck?
live vocals, so
true, yeah, true.
that's why we did concerts with them.
The gig itself-
Besides them being fucking brilliant, they're such wonderful guys and great
Svartilogen,
musicians.
yeah, absolutely.
One of the most underrated, both metal or
Rock, jazz.
yeah, rock, alternative music. Like, if you like good music, check Svartilogen out.
Yeah.
Seriously, don't miss them. They made almost every genre from their back catalog from the
Yeah.
first album to now. They almost covered every base that I can think of,
Yeah, and they do it all
except techno,
so
of course.
well. The gig
They could do
itself
that.
wasn't as great as the one in Oberhausen, also
Yeah.
because it was kind of a shit crowd, sorry.
Yeah, and the venue wasn't that great either.
It was just a bar.
Yeah, it's just a normal bar.
And
But that was my attempt of trying to do more shows in Sweden, because
Yeah.
people all the time ask me, can't you do something outside of Gothenburg or Stockholm? And I've done several concerts up in
tried.
Umeå, which is very far away from everything. That's like 12 hours north. Or
so
more.
nobody's there.
And Poland is just 6 hours. So we thought, it's a good compromise.
Yeah.
We'll try this.
But
No one really came.
also we started avoiding most Scandinavian gigs because, and this is no personal insult whatsoever, but
Yeah, I love Scandinavia and I love Sweden. I love Norway. I like performing in Norway, but it's really expensive to
Yeah.
get to Norway.
and
Like
people prefer spending their money on drinks
especially
rather
in Finland.
than something else.
Yeah.
So
And that's why we don't have more concerts in Finland. We would love to go to Finland more often,
yeah,
but they don't want to pay our flights. So that's the problem there. Like, we would love to go,
Yeah.
but we're like I make this comparison a lot when people ask me why I don't do different things. And imagine, like, if you're an office worker and your boss tells you, yeah, I might pay you, but you have to pay me for going here first. And
That's
maybe you will
another-
get some money back.
Yeah.
That's essentially the musicians every
Yeah.
night.
Our life story. Yeah.
Mhm.
Now,
Who pays to go to work? Like I would be fine to go break even but
yeah, we have.
but to be demanded to lose money on your work, nah.
But that being said, in
Because
Turku,
just because we love what we do doesn't mean that we have to suffer for it. We have,
we have
but
multiple times.
that shouldn't be what it's about.
But that being said, in Turku, we were treated very nicely by the organization.
Yeah, they were really wonderful.
Turku Satonala was a really, really nice
Amazing
event.
event.
Yeah.
Great organizers.
Yeah, very nice bands.
Oh yeah, really good lineup.
Yeah, I remember seeing
Clandestine Blaze.
Clandestine Blaze there, which you don't see every day.
Yeah, exactly.
It was pretty nice.
Yeah.
Apart from that, it was a strange evening, but let's not go into
Yeah.
details.
Well, many of our evenings on the road are strange, but that's one of the charms, you know?
Yeah. So when I came into the band in that fateful evening in 2013, I think I was almost immediately branded the babysitter of the band.
Pretty much, because I'm not famous for it, but I have the habit, like as you can see here, like if I have drinks in front of me, they're not going to remain there. That's just how it is. Like I wouldn't say that I'm an alcoholic, but I do have an alcohol problem.
But you don't.
I can admit it.
You don't drink to get drunk. You drink because you enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. But
Getting
my
drunk.
problem is that I enjoy it too much, so I
Yeah.
get drunk, and I don't notice it, so I keep drinking, and after a while I can't move anymore.
Yeah, and at that time the other member in the band also liked mind expanding substances. Let's call it that.
Yeah,
I was I was completely sober basically.
Yeah.
I still don't think alcohol is for me.
yeah, it's not
Strange
for
as a
everyone.
Belgian.
Yeah,
But I can admit that. So yeah, I was at that point the babysitter, but it was a different time. Like everyone in the
yeah. I
band.
try to grow up, but it's hard. It takes time.
It's a different time now. But it also suited I think the control freak in me, that I could take some kind of control over Hypothermia,
Yeah.
especially over the merch part
Yeah.
from that moment on, which was necessary because, as Kim mentioned previously, even with musicians in the same city, it
Yeah.
was sometimes very, very hard to get stuff rolling.
Yeah,
And this will answer a bit of a distance question too. It went better with 2,000 kilometers between us because we both had the drive.
yeah. And we have both a background of running a distribution, so we know how to interact with our fans in that way.
And in this day and age, you don't have an excuse to not communicate with each other if you need to, because it's too fucking easy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's getting harder and harder to be a misanthrope these days.
That's a good closing for this
cheers.
part.